Brilliant. Thank you very much for having me. So as Matt said, I'm the director of Freedto. We are a communications and digital consultant for charities, principally Christian charities. I'm just going to share a few minutes now on digital first organizations, and that's something that we often end up working with here at Freedto, organizations that are kind of on that journey or want to start that journey. So everyone's gone digital since the onset of COVID-19, whether that means streaming your church service, running a remote business, or helping your parents do their first ever online shop. Wherever we started on that digital spectrum, we've all been challenged to go on a digital journey in the last couple of years. Some of us, and indeed some of the organizations we work for and with, were highly digitally dexterous before the crisis. Others, like the majority of churches and most Christian organizations, especially out there, had a much tougher and steeper learning curve. But wherever we find ourselves and our organizations, we now have the opportunity to build on those digital gains that we had to make so quickly. But what's the difference between having some digital products, or maybe doing something digitally, and being a truly digital first organization? Well, three things to touch on. So first of all, for a digital first organization, digital isn't an afterthought. It's the first question we ask. Makes sense, right? Secondly, the boundaries between digital and physical are often blurred for a digital first organization. What does that mean? It could be something as simple as using voice. So bringing your verse for the day onto Alexa so people can add it to part of their morning routine. Or, more famously perhaps, is the McDonald's app that actually brings the physicality of eating a hamburger together with the digital ordering process. So if you haven't experienced it, you can order your hamburger wherever you are via their app. And as you approach their store, they will start to make it for you so it's ready and hot as you pick it up from the drive-through. So blurring those boundaries of physical and digital is an aspect of a digital first organization. And thirdly, as an organization, you're probably doing something that is purely digital and not physical at all. For many of the organizations that we work with, they used to do everything physical, and this is the way they always did stuff. So actually going to a digital first and doing something that's purely digital is a really great way to kind of swing the pendulum towards becoming that digital first kind of organization. So becoming a digital first organization, though, is above all about culture change, culture shift. So we're going to look at three things. What does that mean for you as a leader of one of those organizations? What does it mean for your staff? And what does that mean for those who you serve? So what does it mean for you? Well, firstly, it means a certain amount of reimagination. How can you do things differently? It has to come from the top if you're looking to be digital first. So now that we're all more aware and more comfortable with what is possible digitally, ask yourself that question of, how can I reimagine what my organization does in the light of this digital change we've all been through? Examples of that might be as simple as your church taking donations via a touch app rather than through those little envelopes that sit in pews. Or it could be using an existing platform that's already out there. Think of kind of like YouVersion for churches. How do we have a presence on that so that people can find our church wherever they are, join our Bible reading plan, and eventually join our church? Technology is about allowing organizations across all industries to grow and innovate at an unprecedented speed. So becoming digital is no longer a question of standing out, but it's a question of keeping up. And building a digital first organization can actually help you to future proof it, making sure you're not behind the curve, making sure that you are keeping up with the rate of change. It helps you to stay agile as well. And it helps you to be adaptable to shifting markets and anything socio-economic that might change. digital first has to start from the top. You have to take the lead on reimagining what this looks like, and you have to know that it's integral to the future health of your organization that you go on this journey. One key one, though, when you do this to think about as a leader is communication. So how do you connect with your staff, especially in different ways? Now the world of work is different. And one place I would point you, I won't cover it now because of time, but I listened to the High Performance podcast and the interview with Josh Capito. That was a couple of weeks ago. He's the new chief executive of the Formula One team, Williams, and took on that role with a relatively unperforming team during COVID, based in a different country. So no one was working. He couldn't. So that kind of communications challenge of taking on the leadership of an organization like that digitally at a time when you can't meet and you're in a different country. It was very insightful to hear what you had to say about that. So what does that mean for you? What does it mean for your staff? When it comes to becoming a digital first organization, keeping your purpose central is so key, especially when it comes to taking your staff on that journey as well. The world has changed and the way we do stuff has too, but your purpose probably hasn't. So reinforcing your purpose and being secure in that can help your staff and your employees focus now on how to do that, achieve those things digitally, whereas previously they might have done it more physically. So anchoring the process of digital transformation into your purpose helps staff go on that journey better. As I mentioned, it's about culture change. You're trying to create an agile organization, and that means that the processes and the way people work is going to change. It's going to have an impact. Technology is going to have an impact on the organizational culture. It's going to help you be more efficient, and it's going to help you offer greater customer experience. But all this change can be really frustrating for your staff, for your team, if this is forced on them. So training and support is especially key, especially for those who are less digitally aware. And I mentioned those organizations that, sometimes we work with, that this is just the way they've always done things. And often those things are quite linked to the way that the whole organization was set up and the vision and the mission. So it can be not just a practical change for people, but almost a kind of emotional change as well. And you need to be aware of that. On the more positive side, going digital can help to break down silos and improve transparency. And a simple way to do this really easily is to think about how you work together as a team. So actually becoming digital first might not start off with doing something, making a digital product. It might start off with working out how you work together digitally as a team. So just simple things like, do you use Slack, or do you use WhatsApp, or do you use something like Notion that gives transparency to everyone within the organization of what is going on, the projects that are being worked with, the decisions that are being made. And all that is going to help you work in a more agile way. What we often come across is, it's not possible to do this digitally, especially working with churches. It's that classic one of, community, we need to get together. And yes, digital doesn't replace the physical in that way, but it can really enhance it. So McDonald's have shown that it's possible to bring digital transformation to a hamburger. So if that's possible, then the challenge to us all is, how can we reimagine what we do through that lens? The final thing that it's important to think about with your staff is data. If you're engaging with your customers digitally, you're automatically going to find out a whole lot more about them data-wise. And you can use this to bring greater customer experience and ultimately serve the people that you're trying to serve. So tied back to that purpose piece, if you show those results to the staff, if you enable them to do their job better because they know who they're working with and what those people's needs are, then that helps them get on board with this journey, helps them get on board with this culture, especially in an organization which is mission driven. Finally, because I'm aware of time, what does it mean for those that you serve? So it can mean that they engage with you easier. Sometimes it can mean that there is less personal interaction. So the classic one is in the church world, it was much easier to go to church during COVID in some ways, because all you needed to do is put your laptop on wherever you were in the world and join the live stream. But the loss of that was the personal interaction. And that works for some, often depending on what stage they are, but it can be not trusted by others. There can be potential cost savings too. One of our clients is Right Now Media, which is a kind of like online Netflix for Bible studies. And many churches found that actually the budget that they used to spend on buying DVDs and physical books and stuff, which would then be photocopied and handed around and get old quite quickly, it's a cost saving for them to just buy an online subscription, which gives them access to a completely updated library. So there are potential cost savings to doing things more digitally than physically. It allows you to have more customization. So as a customer, you can pick and choose what you want to know, what you want to hear about, how you want to engage. It gives greater understanding and visibility, and done well, digital first organizations can create real loyalty and delight with their customers and those people that they serve. 4 things to finish on how you actually do it. Put people first. So often digital first organizations make the mistake of leading with the product or the platform. I need an app, or I need to do XYZ. It's not about that. It's about understanding who you're trying to reach, what you're trying to achieve, and what they actually need. So put them first and use digital to respond to those needs. Start at the top. So lead by example. This is not going to be something that's grassroots. You need to reimagine it for yourself. Embrace technology and don't be afraid of it. And finally, it's about the vision and not about the platforms. So what is your purpose and how can you do that in a new digital world?